Okay, so good morning, everybody. And yes, we're back to my intentional parenting journey. But we're back with an amazing inner circle parent. You want to listen to her today. And today, she's going to be sharing with us what her journey looks like. I love to see the journeys of these parents because for me, it gives me a new perspective of what we're doing as an academy. And that's why I love the whole series. This time around, we're doing it a whole long. If you're wondering what we're doing, we are bringing people who are part of the inner circle program, and we're getting them to share about their journey themselves. It is one thing that Coach Wendy says this is how it works in the inner circle. It's another thing that people come and say, you know what, this is my journey in the inner circle. I wish somebody would interview me too. Let me share my own intentional parenting journey. All right. I'll be so glad to share that. Okay, so we have Chinwemma Essien. All right, Chinwemma, I want to believe that this is you went across the river like some of us to go and change your name into two different kind of names. All right. You're welcome, ma. Thank you so
Thank
much for doing
you.
this with us.
Thank you, Coach.
Alrighty. Yes, ma'am. So if you can hear us, you can see us. Let's see your comment in the comment section. Just tell us where you're streaming live from. I'm streaming live from Nigeria, the capital city, Abuja. All right, the Federal Capital Territory. And I'm right in my office, if you're wondering where I am. And I'm streaming live with Chinwemma. Chinwemma is streaming live all the way from the UK. And she's a practicing nurse in the UK. And I'm looking forward to hearing her journey. I've never heard it. I'm so glad that I'm going to be here listening to her today. So, Ma, over to you. Tell us, how did you even come in contact with this yellow woman, right? And how did you get to the point where you decided, okay, I want to join the inner circle program? Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Coach. Good morning, everybody. It's an honor to be here this morning. Like it's an opportunity, a privilege that I do not take for granted at all. As Coach has introduced me, my name is Chinwemma Essien. Yes, I'm Igbo married to an Akwa Ibom, so I crossed the bridge, and I am a practicing nurse living in the UK with my husband and my children. Um, so, Coach has asked the question, how did I come across the CIP in the first place? Now, I think it was in 2018 or thereabouts. Honestly, Coach will not believe it's been this long. She was invited to a WhatsApp group to just come, and then I think TIP was just starting. So a friend had added me to this WhatsApp group I was just in this WhatsApp group, and Coach came that day and did a presentation. Then she left her handle to the community after the presentation. So I joined the community. So I've been following the community, silent followership, just there, joining Tuesday lives, listening to everything. I remember when Connect to Correct was launched. I remember when I pre-ordered The Discipline That Works. So, but then, all these books, I just fell in love with what she does at that time. Even though then it was difficult for a lot of people to really understand where this yellow wife of the governor was coming from. but but I could relate with everything that you said, Coach. Not from my own children, but from my own life as a child to my parents. So it was more like I could picture my childhood. I could see that I could see the gaps and the things my parents didn't do due to ignorance. And I wasn't ready to make that same mistake with my children. So everything you kept saying that time outside of the inner circle resonated with me. So I just kept following. And in 2021, when I moved to the UK, I moved to the UK in June 2021. That's just about a little bit over 2 years. In December, I just made up my mind I was going to join the inner circle. So that was how my journey with CIP began.
Amazing. And it's so interesting that Chimama, so TIP started, she's actually very, absolutely very correct. TIP started on the 1st of January 2020, 2020, 2017. And, it's been a journey. We've come a long way to this point. Yeah. So you're welcome to the journey with us. So Chuema is one of the people that would have seen the transition of from one place to another. Can you still hear me? Are
Yes,
you still
yes, ma'am.
there?
I
Okay,
am.
great. Okay, all right. Oh, okay. I can even see you have disciples in the comment section. It was Chinwemma that brought me to the inner circle. No. So that's the days of the beginning, right? I can even imagine WhatsApp, class. I then that was a thing. Don't invite me for a WhatsApp class. I won't answer you.
No,
That's
you
a
have
warning.
outgrown it, coach.
All right. No, no, no. I just don't. It just takes a lot of time. I like
I
to
know.
teach, but I like to speak. All right. So
Mm,
it makes it a lot more easier to actually be able to speak. So you know what it is that video streaming did for us. Amazing something. All
yes.
righty. So for some of us who are talkers. So whoever you've been in you've had an idea of what the academy looked like from the beginning of the journey in 2018. And then, oh, TM started in 2018, by the way. From the beginning of the journey in 2018, 1st January 2018. And of course, you met us in 2018. That's a long time ago, right?
Right.
I don't know. Is there anybody in the comment section who also connected to TIP in 2018? Right? This is the first time I'm hearing it, that she's actually been, there following and all of that. So when you joined the inner circle, what was it for you? What was different for you? You followed the academy, outside of the inner circle. What was different? Why didn't you tell yourself, why didn't I just, stay somewhere, follow like Nicodemus, like they say in the inner circle, quietly and softly and all of that. So tell me what you found when you got into the academy.
You see, thank you, coach. Outside of the inner circle, coach will always brag. The others know about this. I say, What is this about these others? What is anything she said, the others will understand. If you're not in the yard, I said, I must enter this yard and see what is going on in the yard. So, yes. Um, 2021, I got to England, and then I felt, there will be so many stories you will hear about problems with social workers, how to raise children here, and things like that. So for me, following the inner circle over those years has built like a foundation that I knew that there is a better way to do things. There is a better way. I have an idea, but getting into the inner circle, that's the powerhouse of TIP. Getting into that space. In fact, the first time, I think I've shared this before, I said, who sent me? Am I sure this is the right time for me to enter this thing? It was, I felt overwhelmed. Yes, I felt overwhelmed the first time because I didn't know, I was going through quite a number of, relocation has just happened. My family joined me in September. So settling down, my husband trying to find his feet. Then our son, I think in November, noticed a lump in his neck. It's anxiety of all of that, hospital visits and everything. But in the midst of it, I was thinking, should I just send a message and say, you know what, I'm just going to step out first and join later when things. But then I said, no, I'm better off staying in this arc so that whatever is happening, I am safe. How am I safe? Is that I get to hear and listen to and read things that edify me, things that help me as a parent to navigate at that even that time. So that was when I felt I really needed to be in the nice circle the most. So I stayed back and I didn't leave. It wasn't easy, but one day, coach, I think you came up and you just it's like God just sent you to talk to us. And you left a voice note trying to encourage us that it won't be easy. But look, we must make our time to do this. It's now, time, as you said it, you said time is the currency of destiny. There's a time that once that time passes, we've missed. So I decided to just stay put. And trust me, it is different in the inner circle. The things you would get to encounter in the inner circle will blow your mind. You haven't even heard anything like it before. The curriculum in the inner circle, sometimes I sit and when I'm listening to some of your classes, I'm like, where does this woman get all these things from? Honestly, it's not flesh and blood. It is not. They are just divine. The curriculum are things, even if you've heard some of the things before, the way you interpret them, they are different. They are so, you can feel it, you can touch it, you can apply it. They are so applicable, they are so practical. I don't know how to, how best to explain it, but the inner circle is better experienced. Nobody can even explain it to anybody. That's just the truth. Thank you, coach.
Amazing, amazing. Anytime when people come to me and say, I really want you to tell me what is the inner circle about? Do you know for 2 years, we found it difficult to put up an advert about the inner circle, a proper, these are the things you need to. Even till now, we don't really have a flyer that explains it. So every time we come together in the team, I'm always like, where do we start? How do we put words to this conversation? And then I remember that 2 years ago we created the frequently asked questions. And one of those days, one of the team members said, "This doesn't cut it, coach. It does not. They frequently ask questions. It doesn't cut what the inner circle is about." But I came to the place where I made peace that the interpretation of the inner circle is very personal. That's one of the things that I have been able to pick out on the journey of parents. Some people have said this is the next best thing that happened to me after salvation. Some people have said this is the only thing that actually holds me. Some people have told me that, oh, so we had one of the yadas whose husband went through, cancer and, survived and all of that. She sent me a long note and said, this is the only thing that kept me sane. So it's just different things to different people. And that's why I know that is divine. So the inner circle didn't start just by me saying, oh, so there's something and all of that. That's a background story. All right. And I remember when I was trying to really fight and say, no, there has to be something I have to interpret. And it was the Holy Spirit that said the inner circle is a personal journey, and the interpretation will be personal to every single person. That's how God does it. And that's why every one of us will read the same scripture and we're going to be interpreted to, right? Every single part of the scripture is interpreted personally. All right. So, and that's why we're having these parents share their personal experience. All right. So this will be the second year that Chinwemma will be in the academy. She's a very busy person. So, of course, you already heard she's a practicing nurse in the UK. And there are bills, there's work, there's children, there's everything. I want you to, so apart from the fact that you decided to not to get overwhelmed by yourself, I want you to tell me, what practically, how did you get to the point of being able to manage your time? Every time people ask me, Coach, how do you manage your time? How do you put everything? How do you do everything that is important to me? So I usually say that I do not have time is a language of poor time managers. And if you're going to be able to manage your life, then you must manage your time. So when parents tell me I don't have time, I look at you like somebody who is not disciplined enough to understand you, to even go on a journey. So when people come to me with overwhelm, I smile. I'm like, that means you've not gotten to that journey of being able to manage the circumstances around you. So a Yada once sent me a chat, a long chat of what's been happening to her. And I decided to, play a little card, that day. And I usually would not do that. I don't usually go around saying this is what is happening to me, I'm dying. You ask the others. And that day, I had just lost my friend. I had watched her die. I had, a parent in the hospital. I had my son, all right, who was ill over the night. I had to go to school. So by the time I was done telling her my ordeal, she said, "Coach, are you a human being?" I said, "So yes." Now let's get on to you, why you are here. So it's a question everybody, all right, Everybody ask, even parents in the inner circle, how do I manage my time? How do I cope? How do I'm not coping? That's the first thing you hear in December. When the inner circle parents join in, they will start shouting, I'm not coping. How am I going to cope? But tell us in practical times what you were able to do.
Okay. Um, yes, as coach has said, I am a busy person. If you work as a nurse in the UK, you know what it is, especially when you work with the NHS. You are tempted to want to pick up extra shifts to make extra money and all of those stuff. But yeah, I got into the inner circle, and one of the things that coach will make you um that a pledge that coach will make you pledge to yourself is that I have time to parent my children. So that's one of the things that we start with. Now, when I was feeling all of this overwhelm, one of the things that helped me was the webinar on time management. Honestly, every time I remember my journey and where I have arrived, I owe it to that webinar, because that webinar just broke things down for me in a way that I was able to apply it to my life. I think after that webinar, I drew a sketch of an essentialism pyramid. That was what I called it. So
Oh,
I drew
wow.
that pyramid. I don't even know. I think I probably have the book somewhere where I drew it. So I drew it, and in that pyramid, I listed the things that are essential to me in order of priority. So God first, my relationship with God, which is my devotional and my quiet time with God, my personal time, and then yes, family, but most times early hours of the morning, I like after my devotion, I write into my journal. So I go to the TIP group, which is one of the things I do first thing in the morning after devotion. Go to TIP group, see the tool of the day. I see the tool of the day. I listen to the voice note of the day, and then just write it into my journal, because my journal is just beside my bed, the drawer, my bedside drawer. So I do that and I put that down there, and then I carry on with the rest of the day. So book reviews when I come back at night if I can. Initially, I was working on the ward. I was a ward nurse, so ward was 12 hours shifts. And in a week, you can do 12-hour shift for 3 days. Sometimes you're on night shift. It just messes up with you creating a routine. But gradually, you see that essentialism thing. I started knocking myself off a lot of WhatsApp groups. I started removing myself from a lot of things. In fact, let me use the word, I decluttered. I think that was what I did. And after that time, my life narrowed to the things that were really important to me. Before then, I was just all over the place. You are here, you are there, every time you're on the street of social media, just loitering, busy doing nothing. So so that class coach liberated me. Honestly, that class helped me. And today I'm not overwhelmed. I repeated level one because I knew by myself that I needed to repeat it even after my session with you. And doing level one a second time is a whole lot of difference. I can see that I'm able to follow through better, maybe not 100%, but a lot more better than I did last year. So that is how I manage my time. I now devote time to things that are more essential to me. So that's my watchword. Is it essential? When I'm faced with things, I weigh it. I weigh whatever I am faced with. Is this thing essential to me at this time? If it is not, I just drop it aside or put it at the back burner and bring the things that are essential to the front. So for me, TIP, which is the assignment God has given me, first assignment God has given me after marriage, is these children, is one of the things that is essential to me. So that is how I place it. If I miss webinars, I catch replay most times when I'm at work. But if I'm not at work, I try my best to join the live webinars.
Amazing, that when we started, one of the questions that is usually on the forefront when we are journeying, right, is I'm going to get a lot of work. I told my team yesterday, I said, are you ready for December? Are you ready to lose sleep? And everybody was laughing. I said, you're going to lose sleep. I hope we have a new staff. And I was saying, she was looking at me. She doesn't understand what it means. I said, you're welcome. When you get to December, you will lose sleep for a while. And one of the things that people would bombard you with it. How will I balance my life? How can I balance? Coach, just tell me. But like I say, this life, no balance. There is no balance anywhere. If you're looking for balance, it does not exist. And that's
Yeah.
why when I teach time management, I teach it differently. I don't teach like work-life balance. There's nothing like that. Conversation for another day. All right. Gloria said time management webinar was my deliverance session. I can imagine.
Honestly,
All
honestly.
right. Because sometimes we're busy, like Chinwemma said, we're busy doing different things, but not even being productive, really.
That's the
Every time I
truth.
think about it, one of the things that solved this problem for me was the Mark Zuckerbergs, the Jeff Bezos, and all. They have the same 24 hours now. Come on, man. It's not different. And you know what? No matter how you shout that you're overwhelmed, you don't have time. You don't 24 hours will never change. It will remain there as 24 hours. All of us will have as in fact, that's where God's equality is amazing. Hey, he's an equalizer. You see that time, 24 hours is an equalizer for all human beings. So that you don't come to heaven and say, God, it's because you gave the other person 48 hours, I gave you 24. That's why things did not work for me. All right. Okay, so we have Chinwemma, a practicing nurse from the UK, sharing her journey. So I want to ask Chinwemma, what have you been able to do? How has this journey impacted your parenting journey? If you can share with us practical experiences with your children, then we can now go to practical experiences with your circle and also with your marriage. Over to you, ma'am.
Okay. So, honestly, the being in the inner circle has impacted my journey with my children so much that I have learned how to connect better with my children. I think one first of all, it starts with the family values, mission, and vision. So that's where the journey starts. That's a compulsory assignment that we all had to do. Let me just say here that when I started this journey, my husband was not on the same picture. It was not on the same page. So most times you find women who have to take that first step and start alone. So this is just me encouraging someone out there. You might be thinking, oh, my husband is not in support. Just take the step first. You're doing it for everybody in your family. So I took that step, paid the money, and then, even the family values, I sat down and created it myself. It was after creating it, I shared it with him. Because if I start saying, oh, come, let's do it together, it might never be done because his timing might not work with mine. So I did it, shared it with him, opened it up for input, for contribution. He was happy with it. And then I got it, printed it out after sharing it with coach. So same thing with the media plan. So all of those structures I put in place, and we had a family meeting, which I called and discussed these things with everyone. So we were all on this, on the same picture. He would just support, in a way, in one or two ways. So now for my children, nothing, when you get into the inner circle, you can't do anything anyhow. You just say, it's my life. I can do anything anyhow. In inner circle, you cannot do anything anyhow. Anything does not just happen anyhow in your home. You become accountable. In fact, if you have not started hearing coach's voice in your dream, in your sleep, you have not. So for my children, people can easily recognize that these children are different. Their reading pattern be like they read without being prompted, and it had to start with me. Like coach, one mantra in the inner circle is that parenting is about you. So I had to start the change from myself. I used to love to read a lot. But after, reading to pass exams, the wahala of school, I just say, you know what, please, this brain needs to rest. But in the inner circle, I picked myself up again, and started reading. And gradually, the children also started loving to read books. So we made going to the library, a part of our habits. So we go to the library on Saturdays. Saturdays in my home is for the libraries. So here we're fortunate to have local, very beautiful local libraries around. So it's true. You even see the white children coming. Everybody is taking advantage of the local libraries. So we took advantage of local libraries. The children go to the park on Saturday, so it's alternate. If they are doing park this Saturday, they might do library the other Saturday. So either parent is around, and we know that's what has to happen. So they started reading so much that we went to. I remember we went for an event, an in-house traditional marriage. So you know how it's an Akwa Ibom traditional marriage. So the dance and everything. My daughter picked a book in the middle of that event. She's 10, and she was bent in the middle of all the noise and was just reading in that event. So for me, I saw her. I just waved at her that I wanted to see what book she was reading because we didn't go there with any book. So I told her, what's the book you're reading? Show it to me. She was just a little bit away from me. So she showed me the book. I saw it and I felt okay, it was fine. She could read it. Someone just turned around and said, please, where's the mother of this girl? I need to know the mother of this child. How can a child be reading in the middle of this kind of noise? That's how much my children have embraced reading. So if you're thinking of children you will see on gadgets, it's not my children. So that screen time thing, that screen time thing the media plan has really worked well. We know the screen free time and we know when screen is allowed. In fact, when it's during the weekdays, there's no TV at home. So the children know weekdays are for no TVs. TV, they're only allowed access to computers if they need to do schoolwork, maybe play on EdShare. They have some links from school for home learning. So they are allowed some time to go on the laptop to do these home learnings. That's what they do during the week. So from Friday afternoon, after rest from school, they are allowed to watch TV and it's for a limited period of time. So all of these things have helped. I don't struggle with saying, oh, my children are stuck to the TV. No, they are not stuck to screens. If they're on the screen, they are there for a purpose. Now you come to cooking. Um, One of the things the inner circle did for me was linking me up to parent partners. I don't know if I would have known about parent partners if I was not in the inner circle. So when this parent partners thing coach shared it, I realized that our son, even though my husband is an amazing dad, sometimes you just see that there are some things some men haven't come to, they have not stepped up to that space to be able to coach their sons in that way as much as the mothers would do. And like Coach always say, a boy child is a boy child. He needs a man in his life to show him the ropes. That masculine thing. So I got in touch with Coach Ebuka and got my son attached to Coach Ebuka. So my son is getting, in fact, I'm not bothered at this point. My son gets all the mentorship that he needs to navigate. At some point, his dad started listening into his classes with Coach Ebuka. He would listen in. He started asking me, who is that man that's, David is always in class with? The way he talks to these boys, he's trying, I say, yes. I had to get him a coach. And you see one thing, my son used to be very reserved. Our son, sorry, used to be very reserved. He won't really talk. But I noticed that each time he's logged onto Coach Ebuka's class, he will be laughing the roof down. I don't know what Coach Ebuka does with these boys, but whatever he's doing is working. And that's one thing. So cooking, the task he gives them previously, before now, they send my son to do something. He will look for an excuse to give you. He will grumble why he cannot do it and all. But now he knows when he's. In fact, they have a roster for washing plates. When they will start doing. Oh, this one will say, I washed yesterday. I didn't wash yesterday. I said no. I have solution. I said okay. Can you do a roster for both of you? The 6-year-old, who is the last one, now climbs the chair. He wants to also wash. So we give him a little stool to climb and wash. When it comes to cooking, I can rest now and know that I go to work and come back. There's food for me to eat. Now, my son started cooking. His dad was challenged when this boy cooked and served all of us. He's 12. And my husband started like, you mean David cooked this food? I said, yes. I was not there. He cooked it. I was upstairs. I most times when I started testing them with, trying to turn on the gas alone, I did that when I was home, but I made sure I was out of the kitchen. In fact, the first time I tried to correct him, I said, Mommy, let me do this thing by myself. You've been teaching me this thing. It's time for me to just let me do it. And I was like, okay. So I washed my hands up and went upstairs while he was downstairs in the kitchen. My husband was shocked. Do you know what happened? I went to work one day and came back. We had stew at home. I came back to a fresh pot of stew and so another pot of jollof rice. So I'm like, who cooked this food? My children says their father. Wasn't before he starts to boil white rice. So just boil white
The
rice.
guy has given him a run.
Telling you, he will just boil white rice. That's all. Make eba. That's all. But this day, I opened the pot. I'm like, we have stew now. Why did you cook stew? He said, I just said, let me try. Let me try and cook this food. And honestly, that was a turnaround. It didn't happen by fighting. It didn't happen by saying, other men are cooking, you cannot cook. Mm-mm. It happened through another way of our son starting to cook, and my husband just rubbed off on his dad. And
That's it.
now, honestly, I can't go to work and come back and be thinking of entering the kitchen. There's
Mm,
already food ready for me to eat. So when they are not also around, so it's made parenting, you know, very rewarding and calm.
mm,
You
mm.
parent from a place of peace. There was one thing, when it comes to yelling, when I think I joined the yelling to calm challenge before I joined the inner circle. And that was when I started becoming sensitized that I don't have to shout all the time. Then getting into the inner circle, it made more sense. When coach thought about, I can't remember, is it managing misbehaviors in your children? And he said the power of initial nothing. You see that statement. I ingested it, I swallowed it. So when I come in, my trigger is a disorganized environment. If I enter
Child.
my house and toys are all over the place, with the stress from work, ha. But now I just come in, and when I just look all over the place, I know if I'm interested in getting into the kitchen or I just want to go upstairs to my room. So that power of initial nothing has given me a lot of calmness. Now the children are able to, even when you thought about teaching your children how to be tech savvy and not social media savvy, that also I embraced. Now I had a presentation on parenting to do for my church invited me to speak on parenting, and I was going to prepare my slides. And my daughter said, Mommy, don't worry, I can teach you. If I had
Correct.
done PowerPoint slides maybe since I was in School of Midwifery 2009, that was when I trained to do it. And I haven't had the course to really do much of it. So she said, Mommy, don't worry. I didn't know that the whole time when you give us tools for them to prepare slides, presentations, I might tell them, okay, do a topic about France, maybe just study a country you have never been. So instead of them just reading, they put it on slides and they present it. So that day, my daughter was like, Mom, don't worry, we can do your slides together. Honestly, me and my daughter, she was the one teaching me how to change the background, the colors, add pictures, take pictures from Google and put here. And my slide was ready for my presentation. When I shared it, people were like, wow, this slide is beautiful. I said, it's my daughter that did it. She showed me what to do. See, when your children are skilled, they'll be blessings to you.
That's it.
That is just it. Now there was something about saying they don't need lesson teachers and all. When my kids came into this country, I was worried. They didn't start their school study here. How would they cope? How would they? So my son started from year 6, and in year 6 they have to write SATs. So I felt he needed extra coaching to understand, how they do their schoolwork here. So I got him a teacher, a white teacher who teaches him maths 1 hour every Saturday. But you see, when the man comes on, I'll be around and the Zoom class is going on. And the man looks at him because the camera has to be down. He wants to watch his working of the maths. He will say, did you say this child has never lived in England before? I said, no. He just came in a few months ago. And this teacher cannot even believe how my son can crack off his maths, maybe in a different way, but he ends up arriving at the answer. In that SAT class, my son got 40 out of 40 in his mental maths. Now, I was tempted to continue with this extra coaching or whatever because other parents were like, put them there, they'll be better. I said, Mommy, I'm not having it anymore. I'm done. I'm fine. Now he plays guitar. He started guitar lessons. The younger two are playing piano. They are having piano lessons. And you see them, they are hands-on. Our son serves in the media team in our local church here.
Correct.
12. So he has to go to church like 2 hours before us, before church starts, because he needs to help with setting up the cameras, the microphones, and everything. He does that. On Saturday, I had an event for women, and the photographer I brought said, "Oh, I can't do I can't be photographing and recording at the same time." When my son stepped in, his 12-year-old boy, he took the other camera from the guy and he was recording the events. I was looking at my son and I'm like, God, if he's 12 and he's doing this. So I asked him, I said, would you like to have a training in, photography and all of these things? He said, oh, well, yeah. Because he's as tall as I am now, even though he's 12. And when he's having conversations with you, it's more like an adult kind of conversation. So now I'm looking out for somewhere where he can train or someone who can train him online. And we can get him cameras and he can start doing this thing. So it's a whole lot of, it helps you parent with a purpose. That's what the inner circle does for you. You're not just anywhere belly face, you just wake up and anywhere your belly face, that is inner circle, puts you on a path that you know where you are going. You know you're accountable to a community. And that's one of the best things that has happened to me in this, relocating from Nigeria. It would have been difficult for me. I'd have been thinking, oh, and social workers will come and carry my children one day. I'm not afraid of coming to carry my children because I know that my children are well looked after. I don't panic when people are sharing all these videos are circulating. When we wait until they share one LGBTQ something and people started saying, God forbid, hey, we bind them in Jesus' name. So you prepare yourself, skill your children up, prepare them for the world. Like coach will say, it's not our bedroom is not enough. Prepare them for the world. That is just it. So I can go on and on, but honestly, the inner circle has given me peace on my journey. That's what I can say.
Amazing, amazing. I like how Chinwemma, gave practical examples, all right? Practical examples of what has happened to him. I was looking at Mr. Joseph Adjo say that, oh, his house, nobody's watching TV and nobody died. Some of the things that we say in the inner circle, and you hear some words. Some words are very peculiar to inner circle, to yarders. So when you hear nobody died, you know that it's coming from the yard. And nobody will die. Even if people die, we're going to be alive. The people alive will continue the journey, Abby.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Dr. Celestina said instructions over public opinion. On my journey, I have heard quite a number of people tell me things like, when you live abroad, it's not easy, it's not the same. Your children will become useless. I say, who is this person
Not
that started this thing? Right?
mm-mm.
And every time when I hear all those things, hi Fumi, I see you. Every time when I hear all those things, oh, my children are, children. I'm like, who are these people putting these things together?
It's not true.
Anywhere you live in the world, ineffective parenting will haunt you.
True.
It doesn't matter. And when people say, oh, so African children who migrate are at risk many of the times because a lot of Africans do not put structure into their systems. So, and now you go to a place where there is a system. What happens is that it just exposes your inadequacies. That's what happens. It's not that children who are trained abroad end up becoming useless. I don't know who is putting all those things, madly. Because you look at a system, you are not able to, you can't cope.
That's
Right?
true.
And then unfortunately, even in Nigeria, right, you are not able to see because we still baby adults. You have 30-year-olds who live in your house. So, it's not really a thing. Nobody is saying anything. It's okay. You wake up, you feed a 25-year-old, who is not working, who is in your house. Conversation for another day. But I like how practical Joemma had, said. She said something. She said, inner circle helps you parent with a purpose. With a purpose. Right? So there is where you're going. So people tell me, what if you finish doing all these things? What will be, will be. That's the comment. I was listening to Bishop Davido recently. He said, that's why Africa is failing. What will be, will be. Because we have not gotten to a place where we need to tell ourselves that there are structures, there are systems. See, anybody who tells you that there is no manual to parent, they lied to you. Go back to the Bible. Oh. You will see people giving manual to raise people. There is, they say that word, oh, you just, I will do what works for me. If you are part of that clan that do what works for them, don't come to the inner circle. Because it's not about what works for you. No, 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 no. We're not doing what works for you, right?
Mm-mm.
We're doing what will be beneficial to the next generation. And this is so, so key. In fact, if you know how to structure your system, if you live in the UK, you're going to have the most amazing system ever. When Chinwemma was talking about library, that's so if you live in Nigeria, you're intentional parent, you need to actually be intentional, because the system doesn't really put a lot of those things. You need to create some of these systems yourself. So my children do holiday jobs. It's not a thing in Nigeria. We need to create it in my own small circle. How do we bring this thing? But in most of these developed countries, it is there. You can
Yes.
actually walk in and be able. So the systems are there. We're talking about library, for instance. We don't have local libraries around us. So if you are in Nigeria and you're waiting for, and that's one of the things that I would like to do, to establish private libraries for children in local communities. That's one of the dreams that I have. Oh yes, I said it out. That's one of the dreams that I have. All right.
It will come to pass, good.
Right. I grew up in the library. I grew up in the library. It was the thing. It's one of the things that made us. We dreamt in the library, my siblings and I. We had an uncle who was a security man at the library. And this guy held us accountable. The day you don't come any weekend, I can't forget. He crosses my house and say, why didn't you? Why were you not at the library today? The day the library was destroyed, I grew up in nowhere. My siblings called. Two of my siblings live abroad. They called and we were shedding tears. It was that bad. It was that bad. We were like, who does that? So if you look at the systems, if you know what to do with it, you will be on an amazing journey. Thank you again, Chinwemma Essien, who's been here sharing with us her intentional parenting journey. And Mr. Joseph said this structure thing is one great thing that is happening to me. All right. And for Billy Kisu said, yes, coach, we are more intentionally intentioned. We don't have a choice because you live in a place where so there are three people who are supposed to support your journey, all right? You have a system, the system, the religious bodies, and all of that. And then of course, you now have God who actually have given you that message. So it is that system. One of the things that we don't have is that system. So you're creating the system, all right, yourself. So if you live in Nigeria and you're thinking this intentional parenting thing, it's not even, people that live abroad, they are the ones that need it. Their children, will always, there is gay there is this one there. Unfortunately for you, what is happening here actually will overwhelm you because there are no systems to actually cushion the effect of the things that will come. So if you're still thinking, oh, what are they saying and all of that, this message is for you. All right, so let us move on. So Chinwemma had actually shared a lot of the things I would have loved to, ask her, and the practicality of the things that your children can do. All right, being tech savvy over social media savvy. When people come to me and say, "Oh, but how will the children now learn to now operate the phone?" These children were born with this thing under their arm. You don't need to teach them nothing.
Yes.
So all these, I want to put my children on social media. They will learn. That's not your children being tech savvy, really. And when you get into the inner circle, of course, you learn the nitty gritty of how to actually get in there. At 10 o'clock, we'll have an inner circle webinar. So let us, run. Now, share with us, Chinwemma, what was so name the first top three, let me not say one, top three webinars for you in the academy and why?
Hmm. For me, first for me, peace as a skill. Peace as a skill was one top one for me. And then the next one was the parenting launch plan.
Hmm.
That one was another bomb for me. And I think there was another one about transactional and transformational families. That webinar opened me up to, it took me into the future. That's how I'll
Mm.
put it. Yes, it took me into the future. So peace as a skill, I mean, honor as a skill is one for me, but without that peace as a skill, I don't know if I would have been able to enter into that honor, you know.
Mm.
When you find yourself in a place that your life is like, it's quite stormy, you need a calm to be able to apply whatever else, is coming in the middle of a storm. So at that point when that peace as a skill was taught, my life was at a stormy phase of it. I was going through quite a lot emotionally, psychologically. In fact, emotional intelligence, in fact, that one is not an inner circle webinar per se, but that webinar, coach, I would keep doing it every year and every year. I've done it twice now, and each year is never the same. And it liberated me. EI liberated me in so many ways. It helped me solve a lot of my problems, and it's still helping me till today. So peace as a skill. I picked this thing that says peace is not the absence of war, but the skill and ability to stay calm, the tranquility in the midst of chaos.
Mm.
Because on this journey, we would face a lot of chaos. If it's not coming from your spouse, sometimes it will come from the children. They will make mistakes. You will get to a point where you will question yourself. After every, God to say sometimes, all this, after everything I've done for you, will like blackmail the children. Things will happen that will make you question what you're doing, that will make you question if you're seeing results. But you see, that piece as a skill taught me that life is 10% what happens to me and
Mm.
90% how I respond to it. I picked that thing and I held it. So for every time, even if as long as life is not involved, I got to a place where this morning I was thinking about it and I said, that webinar took me beside the still waters.
Mm.
Makes some sense. It took me beside the still waters where God just restored my soul. So there's
Mm.
this, peace is intrinsic. It comes from the inside, and the thing is that it just exudes from your inside outwards. So everybody around you gets a feel of it. Your spouse gets a feel of it. Your children get a feel of it. And then, I needed to start from there,
Mm.
where there was that calm, where there was that peace. And then I started building on it. Honor as a skill came in, I could run with it. Every other thing that, you know, every other thing that came so easy for me to be able to apply because I was in a better place where I could apply all of the things I was learning. So talk about the launch plan, the parenting launch plan. That one, the day coach was teaching, I said, God, where did this woman come from? Where does she get? She just takes you on a journey that you will begin all the school you have gone to. All the school you have gone to, just keep it when you're coming to the inner circle. All your certificates, just keep them somewhere. Because the things you learn in the inner circle would shift your mind in a way that you've never thought about before. Now we are at the test launch phase for our children, put plans in place. It's something we still work on and review from time to time. Our son, when he was 11, there was this year six here in this country. All of these things coach teach. People back home will struggle with it. These are things they already do here. It's for you to come and open your eyes and just embrace them and get your children into the system. All this music thing that say take your child to this one will say, hey, it's too much. Our 6-year-old plays football. If at the point he has to go for coaching classes, they love football. The boys got here and they loved football like a huge thing. If I show you my son's tape, his books, every footballer if you take him out to buy books for me, he wants to pick a book about a footballer. You know, is this Marcus something? I don't even know. There are a lot. He buys a full book on a single footballer. just reads the lifetime of that person, everything. And for me, that's the way he learns. And he's applying the skills he's learning from them, their resilience, their time management skills, their qualities that make them the world best. He learns all those things from those books. So he had to go for I was going to talk about the, camp. When you say, I can't send my child to camp. Eh, um, I don't know what will happen. My child cannot stay without me. Who told you that your child cannot stay without you? At 11, year six in this country, in my children's school, they go on a camp. It's compulsory, primary six. Excuse me, please. Excuse me.
Sorry.
Thank you, ma'am. So year six go for a compulsory camp. In fact, every class they have a life skill that they learn. I think year three is swimming. Every class have different things. As the child's age, as the child grows, they just put in a life skill that that child must learn during that year. So my son was going to go. I'm like, hey, can he manage? Can he not go? I said, he's going. He will go and nothing will happen to him. He went, he did canoeing, he entered water, he did all this climbing and everything that they do. He did all of them. He came back. He was okay. The beautiful thing that the result I got from that camp was when we went for a year six leavers dinner, because they had a dinner for the year six children, the parents, all the parents and the children. The moment my son and I stepped in, two white parents just walked up to me. Hi, are you David Essien's mom? And I said, yes. They were like, your son was amazing. I'm like, I don't know these people. Where are they from? And they showed me their son. Their son has shared a room with my son at the camp. Most white people might think, oh, my son's sharing a room with a black child. How is he? How will it be okay? Because of the things they hear about us, because of how what they think and watch on news about us. But honestly, coach, that day, my heart swelled with joy. These parents walked up to me and told me, you are raising such an amazing son. Our son didn't stop talking about him. He treated
Hmm.
me so well. They were roommates, and I didn't even know. So sometimes send your children out. Let them go and test what you have been teaching them. There was something coach said. She said, if we build skills in our children and we can't test it, it is null and void. There are some parents who, if they are traveling to see their parents, they are there with their children. They can't send their children there alone. And you say, I'm training my children, they are good, they are okay. I've heard though. But if your children you can't test them to live life outside of you.
Hmm.
Coach Ebuka's camp, my son, in fact, we were four yarders who arranged a bus and met somewhere in Leeds, and we took our boys to that camp. It was a long journey from our end. But because we are in the inner circle, we understand the sacrifices we had to make. In fact, the day I was coming back, I got home to 1 in the middle of the night when I went to pick my son. It was a long journey from where the camp was. But we are going because I know what the impact that that camp would have. I was testing him. I
Hmm.
printed out a list of the things he packed in his bag to the camp. And when he was leaving, he picked the list. And I'm like, you've packed your bag already. Why do you need the list? He said, Mom, I need it to check again when I'm packing my things after camp. And trust me, my son didn't miss a single thing. He packed every single on the group. A lot of parents were posting, "Oh, we've missed a jacket, we've missed book, we've missed this one." But for me, I realized that at least I have checked that box. That he's been to camp twice now in the 2 years that we've been here, and I have tested in my. I know that this boy can thrive outside of this home. Now our daughter is already booked for a camp. She's 10. She's going for a camp next month in October. She
Correct.
is coming. So there's no lion anywhere, coach.
At all.
They will
There
be
is
fine.
none.
They will be fine. They will be okay.
Very all
They
right.
will be. So yeah, that's the parenting launch plan. Yeah. So I've talked about
Hmm.
that's the phase where we are, and yes, we're still working on that. But the exit plan, I had cracked it down with my husband and said, yes, these are topics people don't want to talk about, but we have to
Yeah.
talk about it. I work
Hmm.
in the hospital. People die in my arms every day. every now and then. Let me say not every day, but I'm in this system. I've been in it for nearly 20 years now, practicing as a nurse. So it will come. We can't run away from it. The safest thing to do is to plan for it, how it will go, who will look after our children, what will happen to them. So we shouldn't be afraid of death. And that was one thing that class did for me. And then I talked about the transactional and transformational families. Hey, hey, that one, I think time is going, but you see that topic, it takes you into the future to go and check yourself, to go and, what am I doing? What kind of family am I building? What kind of legacies am I building for my children? If I, you know what inner circle does for you? You live in a kind of consciousness of where you are, what you are doing on this earth. I think that's just how I'm going to summarize it. You live in a consciousness of not just your parenting journey, but for your life as a whole. That is what happened to me in the inner circle. I found purpose in this place. You see all those kitty kata before? Now, in the mornings, I can stay in my bed. Children are ready for school. I only step down to come and take them to school. I don't have to shout. An alarm is set. They know when to wake up. Everybody knows get into the. It's only the 6 years old that you will say, I want to sleep, I want to stretch. I have learned how to give him 5 minutes, negotiate with him so that there's no crying and tantrums. And then he takes his bath. And next thing you know, they are off to school. I was sharing with someone yesterday, I said, my children prepare for school and have 1 hour in between before their school time is ready. There's no scream, there's no cry. I don't have to come and fix breakfast. They make egg wraps themselves. If they need egg, they light the gas and fry it. And they will ask me if they should even make one for me. So that's where the inner circle takes you to a place where you're enjoying your parenting. Would there be challenges? Of course there will be. But now you are equipped with how to manage these challenges. Then if you are stuck, you have somewhere to run to. If you are stuck, you have somebody to talk to say, I'm struggling at this time. I have done this, I have done this. What else can I do? In fact, sometimes when I'm stuck and I've tried all the things that I know, maybe that time I'm not wearing my humility agbada because you must wear, you know. So when I get to that point, I just hear coach's voice behind me saying, you have tried this, you have tried this. Have you exhausted all your options? Have you tried that? So the ideas just come and say, okay, I haven't tried this. Okay, get down. Add more yards to your humility about that so that I can flow very well. Then apply your.
Amazing.
It's a beautiful place to be. Honestly, like I call it an arc all the time because you don't want to be out of this place. If once you are in, even if you are struggling, something just keeps you because you don't want the tides that is flowing in this generation to sweep you off. You don't want to be carried off by the flood. Honestly, trust me, you don't want to be.
Amazing, amazing journey. Somebody say, yeah, that's now talking like coach. And that's the whole idea. I tell you that you need to be able to go somewhere and say, this is my journey, and somebody's learning from you. For me, that's the best gift the inner circle has to offer. When people look at you, look at your journey, because for us, my husband and I, one of the key thing that being able to work on the intentional parenting journey has done for us is that you get in, you see our children, and you're able to say, what is it that you guys are doing? And for me, that's a key aspect of being able to do this. Recently, was it yesterday on our timeline on Facebook, and I shared a Yada whose 6-year-old was ironing. The place went off the roof. Oh, people said my child, my 6-year-old never. And I made a very, funny, post. And I said, well, your 6-year-old can iron, but another person's 6-year-old can, of course, in Nigeria.
That's
Do all sorts of things, taking underaged, children for as helps. And of course, something that we need to even start talking about. That's a conversation for another day. And a lot of people say, no, 6-year-old is even my 10-year-old cannot iron. Even my 14-year-old. Hey, what are you saying? Hey, everybody was just on and on. Some people even said, I live abroad. It's not possible. You can't. I'm looking at them. I have had the opportunity to study different parenting system of different nations. And I have seen that in Africa, we start late. I've been saying it, I've been screaming
That's
this
true.
thing. We
Very
start
true.
late. You will see a typical white child. All these people that are brought, oh, they are the useless. And it is not true. You will see, I make it a duty that when we travel, we stay in a white dominated community because I want to see. You will see a typical water at 6 washing car,
Yes.
doing the lawn.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, in our place, 6-year-olds are still being nannied. They carry them, they bring them out, they give them a bath. 10-year-olds are still being birthed. We raise children who can't, be dependent. You can't be independent. We raise dependent children. That's why you're still cooking for your 10-year-old. That's the truth. You're still, fixing, and that's why you get overwhelmed in the morning. You come out, hey, you're running overwhelmed. Why? I remember those days when I started, when I was still, on my journey in the early days, I would share how, the children would pack food for us at 8. My children were waking up, packing food for themselves and us. Somebody said, the fact that your children are doing it, it doesn't mean that my own children, we have to do it. Oh, we're all on a different, all those things. By the way, again, if you are coming to do anyhow, not in the inner circle, you will not survive. All right. And it is so, so key that we begin to actually stand up, especially for Africans, and begin to see what's happening. And on that same day, I shared another post that buttresses the point of what I was saying. It was a Chinese boy who was putting off the circuit light. 3 years, that boy can't be more than 3. And he just suspected my father was shocking. Climbed stool to switch it off. Real life examples. And yet we look at our 6-year-old as handicapped. We look at our 10-year-olds as handicapped. And no matter where you live, intentional parenting is intentional parenting. All right. No matter where you live, somebody said, Coach, your drama self is calming. You guys should leave me. All right. You guys should leave me. But please, don't start late. Let us save Africa. Let
Yes.
us save this continent. Do stop starting late. Start from day one. And that's why we have our children. They will sleep with us until they are 10. They are sleeping in our room. And, some of those things, please, I'm not saying don't bond with your children. I'm saying don't bond to them to become foolish virgins.
Honestly.
That's one of the things that we're saying here. So we've had Chinwemma on the stream with us, sharing her intentional parenting journey. She lives in the UK. She's a nurse. And I think we're going to also bring Clara. I want us to bring practicing nurses in the UK because there's always this thing about, hey, no, I live abroad. Is it possible? It's not possible. Clara has a 5-year-old who cooks. In fact, she said, I come back from night shift and I have food. My 5-year-old will say, Mommy, don't worry. I've actually made something for you. And I love the part of the story where shared how her husband was challenged. All these fights, there's no need. Just challenge. The guy will be challenged. The guy will wake up one day and say, this boy, what is happening? I need to actually, I need to actually, challenge myself. Again, where like, so we're gonna be sharing, getting towards the end. We have over 120 people watching live. Thank you so much for joining us live at this time. I know that your time is precious and we do not take it for granted. All right. And Chinwemma, so share with us what would you be, saying to parents who are looking to build structure, who are somebody said there are 3 types of parents: the ones that lion is chasing, the ones that are saying, you know what, I already do these things that they're saying, but I don't really need this system. I have it all figured out. And then the parents who are also in the place of all these things, my children are not old enough. They are not 8 now. And so let me wait. When they are 8, I will not get in. Over to you, ma'am.
Wow. Um, if there's anything that I would say I regret is not joining inner circle early enough. That's where I'll start from. Because if you're still out there and thinking, what is all this thing about? What are they even saying? I can read book and understand it. I can do this by myself and understand it. The inner circle gives you a system of accountability. On your journey, That's why I said parenting as a yada helps you to parent with purpose. You know where you are going. And on the journey of purpose, you can't be isolated. You can't walk that journey alone. As human beings, we are created for collaboration. We
Yeah.
must, we need to, there's something called collective intelligence. And that's one thing you benefit from being in the inner circle. So whether you're single, still preparing to get married, or you are married, you are still planning to have your children. In fact, parenting starts from when your child has even been conceived, or when you're even still shopping for your baby things. You can even start, you know, confessing. You can start speaking to your children even when they are in the womb. So don't think any time is too late. There's no perfect time. Now is the perfect time to enter this act. Now, for those who also think that, oh, my husband is not supporting me. Well, there's some journey. I know that yes, spousal support is important, but there are some journeys that you be going on in your life that you will just have to learn to take certain decisions to save the day or to save the consequences that might come from losing out. There are windows of opportunities as coach will teach. Those windows of opportunities, if you are outside of the inner circle, you're not taking advantage of those windows of opportunities, your children might miss out. And childhood, if parenting is an 18-year project, anything after that 18 years, we are made to understand that it is damage control. So you don't want to stay and be still dilly-dallying, thinking, should I not? What are they doing? Like, it's a personal experience, trust me. Nobody can explain it to you. Like, this is my own journey. There are many things about my journey that I didn't even share because of time. But if you're out there and you're still thinking, the books you will read in the inner circle, there was one of the books we were reading, is it Bringing Up Boys? I've never seen that book. Maybe someone else. I've never seen it until I got to the inner circle. I was reading the first few chapters and I can just see my 6-year-old inside that book. When a book just describes your child. I saw my 6-year-old in that book and it just helped me understand my son in a way. Is it the book reviews you want to talk about or the webinars? There's just so much in the inner circle that you can't get sitting outside. You have to be in the ark to benefit. So please don't waste time. Stop asking whether you can, you cannot. If your husband is not in support, join. I started without spousal support, not financially, not in any way. But today, the results are rubbing off. Initially, even when my husband could not pick a book and read, when the children, I'm sitting with a book, everybody's sitting with a book, he looked like the odd one out. He had to start going to the library. He had to also start reading. Because you sit down and everybody is holding a book like this. This one, my child is, everybody is just reading. You don't just say, if I want the children after me, say, Daddy, you don't read. Next day, I saw a book from the library. He got a book, and since then, he's been going to the library back and forth, even with nobody telling him go to the library. Whatever results you get, even when you think you're not even seeing results, just keep at it. The results are there. Before I was invited, I was thinking, okay, you've not seen results. But when I started thinking, I wrote pages of the things, the progress that I have made. So please stop, don't delay. If you have children, you don't have children, you are working with children, TIP is not just for it's not just for people who have children. It's not for a certain age of people, people with children of certain ages. It's for everyone. As a single person, you can find your purpose in the inner circle. Trust me. I moved from being a ward nurse to being a specialist nurse this year. And I was sharing with coach, I said, see, the things I learned in the inner circle helped me in my career. There was a day coach was doing a webinar and she said, if you're, I think either under honor as a skill, you were saying, if you're in a place and the place is no longer comfortable for you, you're not feeling like, the place is making you uncomfortable in certain ways. Before you start dishonoring the people who are your bosses or your head, I'm just paraphrasing this thing the way I remember it, coach. She said, "You are better off living honorably. Don't stay in that place." And then I was in a ward that was draining me. If every Nigerian that I came onto that ward with had left that ward before me. But I had this staying power. I was giving my best. Even though I come back drained. It's a 33 bedded ward, and we will just be three nurses looking after 33 patients, very, very ill patients. So I'll come home, I'll be so ill. I'll be so drained. So when coach said that thing, I said, "Coach is talking to me." I took it, I went back, I said, "What do you want?" I spoke to myself and I said, "I want to move up the ladder in the NHS and I want to be a specialist nurse. I don't want to be just maybe a ward manager. I want to specialize in a particular field." And then I started applying. I was applying, this thing that coach will show up. Coach, you don't know how much you inspire us when every day excuses are tenable, but they don't give us results. I embraced that. Every day you say it, I remind myself. When I want to give excuse, I'll say, "Excuses are tenable, no result. Oh yeah, ngwa, get up." So I applied. I had tried twice. I didn't succeed. I was going to give up. I'm like, "Oh, these people, because I'm black, they were not going to give it to me. They won't give me the role." But I keep every day I listen to you, every day I read the books, I'm like, keep going, try again. You won't believe that. It was where I was giving my best that my current manager found me. And she was speaking to my manager now. She said, "So you have a nurse like this on your ward. You're not even putting her up for, you're not recommending her for bigger, that she can offer much more. When you see people skilled like this, is from documentation to excellence in discharging my nursing role. Look, I'm a seasoned nurse. I'm not your regular nurse, so I'm not
All right.
your regular nurse. You see,
She's a
I'm a,
masterpiece.
I'm a but you hit it on the head. I'm a masterpiece nurse. Trust me.
That's it.
You need to see me. You need to. I need to look after. I don't want anybody to be sick. But then, yes, I practice nursing with excellence. I must say that. And Inner Seco has helped me to refine my practice, to refine how I discharge my duties as a nurse. That everywhere I go, when I hosted my women's program recently, somebody was sharing about me. She said she moved to a new unit, to the theaters, and someone was describing a Nigerian nurse to her and telling her that there was this, when you teach us empathy, we don't understand these things until you apply it and they find practical expressions in your life and in the life of other people. You won't understand it. I was walking home one day. I drive, by the way, but sometimes when the weather is nice, I just like to take a walk. I put my music, or I'm listening to a webinar, I'm logged on to something, and I'm just taking a walk. So on days I was walking and I saw this Filipino nurse. She looked all tired and downcast. Even while walking, I could observe it. So I walked up to her and I said, "Hi, are you new? I haven't seen you on this path before." And she said, "Oh, I'm new, but honestly, I'm frustrated." She started pouring out. I don't know her from anywhere. But I saw her wearing the uniform. We just put a jacket over her uniform, and I thought she must be coming from the hospital. I gave her a hug and told her it would be fine. I gave her my number. I said, "You could reach me if you are struggling with anything." Do you know, years down the line, this girl will meet a Nigerian nurse and was describing me to this Nigerian nurse and was saying, "There's one of you that I have met. She saved my life. She helped me on the day that I was at my deepest, deepest end." And the girl said when she heard the description, she knew that it could only be me that fitted into that description. And she wasn't wrong. I wasn't there when they were talking about me. When I did what I was doing, I didn't do it with the intention that somebody was going to, you know, hear about it. But this is what the inner circle helps you become. It's not a journey of perfection, it's a journey of intentionality. Every day you take one step in the right direction, every day you take one step in, it just rubs off on everybody around you.
Amazing.
When I had my recent interview, I was interviewed by the head of nursing, and she was like, "Wow." I had to do a presentation, and before I would be shy about things, but now I'm not shy anymore. Coach was saying this morning that our diligence must be seen by kings.
That's it.
So if you are diligent in the background, in your bedroom, kings will not see you.
That's it.
So I have come out of my shell, coach. I had a speaking event here that I shared on parenting from the heart for my church. here in England, we have a Europe community, and we're going to talk about parenting. And somebody just said, I joined my church in Nigeria, Daystar Christian Center. We have a school of parenting, by the way. So when I from the inner circle, I said I can join this unit in church and serve. The church is in Nigeria, but I serve from here in that unit. So all the parenting programs and everything, I joined online. So when they were looking for someone to speak, they had contacted another lady and they said, "Oh, she's even in the School of Parenting Unit 7." And that was how they brought me in. And a lot of minds were blown. I was sharing the things I have learned. 2-year-old parents, I see you pregnant, I'm telling you about the inner circle. I see you carrying a 1-year-old, 6-month-year-old baby, I'm sending you TIP channel. I'm saying just be watching all the webinars there before your child will grow. Watch all the free Tuesday lives and everything. Start from there. So that is how far I preach the gospel. In fact, Jenny was saying she joined. I have 6 people in this year who joined, who are yadas through my posts on WhatsApp, on
Eh,
just my WhatsApp status. There are 6 people in the inner circle today that they didn't even tell me when they joined. It was after they were telling me.
Amazing,
Yes, yes,
amazing,
it's
amazing.
an
So we
amazing
have Chiwemma who has shared her journey of practicing nurse. And when she said she's a nurse par excellence, believe you me, that is what she is. All right. Practice. She's a masterpiece woman. She cannot be anyhow. So don't
no,
bother. She can't be anyhow. You can't even be there and be anyhow.
no way.
Thank you so much for
Thank you,
sharing
ma.
with us this morning. I am so excited. And not giving you one eye in the UK, of course. You know that we've won lottery. All right. So thank you so much, Emma. I am so excited. I'm grateful. I am honored and I love you. You know that. Thank you
I
so much for
thank
being here. Did I tell you that it was Chinwemma that gave me this cup?
wow.
Yay! Yes, and I love it. It's always on my table. But I use it to drink water every day.
That red color.
In fact, thank you so much for being here. And for those of us who are asking how you can join the inner circle, the details in your screen. The beautiful thing is that you can pay booking 5,000 and then spread your payment before 1st of December. All right, 100,000 naira per annum. 170 if you're joining with your couple. A couple sent me, both of them were doctors. They sent me a chat yesterday, they booked and sent me a chat. I don't know how they even got my direct contact after the team. I think the team sent my number. And they said, what we've heard have blown our minds. We hope that when we get in here, that our mind will even more blown. I said, don't worry. If
They
it's
should
not
not
blown,
worry.
if it's not blown after first month, come back for your money. They were like, Hey. I said, don't worry. I know what you're saying. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you, everybody. And for joining us. You can always catch replay. We'll see you at 8 a.m. tomorrow. But for others, we'll see you at 10 a.m. All right, where we're going to be discussing how to create transformational families over transactional families. You know how those webinars go. You ready for your fire? Are you ready for the fire? We'll see you at 10
For the
a.m.
passports,
For the passports you receive, it's not this nice. So I'm not this nice,
we don't
right?
have
I want
feathers anymore. No skin, no
right?
feathers.
Come with a lot of humility strolling in. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you,
I'm
ma.
going to let you Emma go and as we closing for the day. Alrighty. Thank you so much, everybody who have joined us today. And you're asking, how do I join this group? How do I join the inner circle? All of the details are right on my screen. All you need to do is screenshot this and run with it. All right. We hope to see you right in the academy by the 1st of December. Trust me, you want to be there. Not just because of your parenting, but because of your life. I know because I know that it will really change your life. Right? Thank you. See you at 10 a.m. Yadas and see you tomorrow at 8 a.m. If you're not a Yada, wait for it. You'll be glad. All right, bye and have an amazing day.